Hello everyone, welcome to our first class of Object-Oriented Programming Lab. Today we are discussing our first lecture which is based on a basic concept of object-oriented programming because on this basic concept we will work from the next class. We will work on these concepts. We will work on the implementation of these concepts. So let me first introduce myself. I'm Supriya Sarkar, working as a lecturer in Department of CSE, World University of Bangladesh. So at first, let's check the definition of object-oriented programming. In short, it is called OOP. As the name said, object-oriented. So it is a it is a programming concepts which is based on object. Object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm based on the concept of objects. It is better to call it in as a real world object. Actually, object-oriented programming based on the real world object. In the concept of object-oriented programming, we will consider everything in our real world as objects. The basic element of object-oriented programming is data. Object-oriented programming consists of data and some methods. So it is advantageous for development of software for real life programming. It is vastly used for real life solving real life problems using software to develop software. Uh, there are some you see there are some examples, very popular examples of object-oriented programming. C++, Java, C Sharp, Perl, Python. They are very popular language nowadays. They use object-oriented programming concept. So why it is widely used? Because it is appropriate for casual, that means trivial and concept applications as well. It also allows reuse of code, hence increased productivity. How it reuse its code, we will see in while we do some implementation. In short, a parent class can be used for various subclasses. So it will increase the reusability of the code. So do not need to write the same code multiple times. So let's talk about basic building blocks of object-oriented programming. As we said earlier, object-oriented programming based on objects. So it is a very common basic building block. And another is class. So these are two basic building blocks of object-oriented programming. Object is a model of real-world object that can be a concept also and a process also. You see there are a list of objects, real-life objects. This is a bag. This is a board. This is a book. This is an apple. There are some pencils. These all are objects, and we can consider it object in our programming, object-oriented programming also. This is a concept. The image I'm sharing with you, it is it's showing it represents a concept. A concept can be also implemented by object. Then what about class? Class is called a prototype or blueprint from which objects are created. Inside a class we create some objects as we required. So if here in the image you see if card is a class, then inside the car we can create many objects. So these are objects which also which must contain the properties of this class. Here you see there is an abstract view of a class, and also this the properties of this class also shown in these three objects created inside this car class. So this is a Mercedes, this is a BMW, this is a Audi. Maybe the object's name can be different, but the properties will be same like this object class, because this class, car class, because these objects are created inside this class. So obviously the properties will be same because they belong to a same class. So this image represents how the class and objects relates. So objects has a set of values for each of its attributes. We will see in the next example that every object has some attributes. Also, a set of actions that it can perform. Actions can be called a method or a behavior. Also, every object has an identity. So using this identity, an object can be called. Then a class has a set of attributes or properties that describes every object. So have some attributes. These attributes or features or properties is define the objects. A set of the classes has some set of behavior or actions that every object can perform. So let's see some real world example. Here is a real world example. You can see this is a car class. There is an abstract view of class. You can take it as a defined properties of the object created inside this car class. So the object, whatever the class creates the objects, or the programmer creates the objects inside this class, which will must have this kind of properties. The two will this kind of structure or this kind of color can also be properties of created objects, and these are the objects created inside this class. So the object name is different. You see the object's name is different, so they have identified so that they can be identified differently. But the shape is more or less like this class attributes. So they have different type of features, but they have some common features as this class has some common attributes. So in the form of programming, we can see that here we created a class object. Uh, like programming languages, we did not use here some curly braces, but it is a dummy example. So if car is a class name is car, and class is a keyword. So this is our class name is class, and this is the properties or attribute value. This is the attribute, not value. Just they are called attribute. Uh, and these are the methods or behavior. So you see every car has this kind of method behaviors or methods. Start behavior, backward, forward, and stop. These are some common behaviors. There can be more behaviors, but they are not mentioned here. There are some common behaviors defined by this class, because class is a class of car. So car has this kind of behavior. So whatever the car object is, but these behaviors are same. So now we are going to talk about some basic concepts of object-oriented programming. They are very important for us because we will try to implement these concepts in our future class. They are abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Let's a little bit know about them. What is abstraction? Abstraction is extracting essential properties and behavior of an entity. So abstraction just extracts some important features or properties, or you can say it as a behavior of an entity. What is entity? Entity means object. Object is also called entity, a real world entity. So class represents such an abstraction and is commonly referred to as an abstract data type. So if I see an example here, you see a car, and a general user, car user, any car user cannot do not know how the car works, how the car moves. They do not know the theoretical background or the framework of the car, or the process of mechanisms of this car, or the physics behind this car. They only know how the car can move, or how it can help us, how I can run, I can move the car, I can use the car. But they do not, the general user do not know how, what is the mechanism behind this car, this uh, this what is the mechanism behind the car moving, or different states of this car. But automobile engineer only also automobile engineer know what is the physics behind this operation of this car, how the car moves. He or she knows that. So abstract class keep this information, what kind of user need what kind of information, they keep the information separately. The car user need not to know how, the mechanism of this car moving mechanism, but the automobile engineers must have this kind of features. So automobile engineers want this kind of features of this kind of mechanism. This kind of feature can also be stored in the abstract class. But for the car user, he only need the just the running procedures of the or operating procedures of the car. So uh, their requirement is different. So abstract class give us a facility which user need what kind of information they provide us. But uh, they they hide other the requirement of others user, and do not provide it in a general car user, by the automobile engineer. But when what information the automobile engineer do not need, the abstract class do not provide it to the automobile engineer. So this is the benefit. It provides information based on the need of a user, based on the need of a real world user. So this is the facilities that abstract class give us. Then encapsulation. You can see there is a there is an image of capsule. So it is very similar. The word encapsulation. Capsule hides something, isn't it? You will see that there are some balls in a capsule. So it is a general shape of a capsule. So it hides some balls from us. We cannot touch those balls, but we can just have the capsule, but cannot touch these balls. So it hides something. Encapsulation is data hiding almost. So it is a mechanism by which we combine data and functions that manipulate the data into one unit. So here we combine our required data and required methods combinedly, but we can also hide this kind of information from other users. So the users who have permission to access this data, access this class, can have this information and this data and methods, but the other users cannot have this information. So it is capsulized on kind of. So it is called encapsulation. uh, Object and classes enforce encapsulation. So we can, so that we can hide some class or objects from other users there who do not have permission to see this information or access this information. Now come to inheritance. Inheritance means if we see the example, we inherit from our parents. So our parents inherited from us. So this is an image of a dog and this is a cat. Both of they are animal. So they inherited the class of animal. So also, as they inherited from this animal class, they have the properties of whatever the animal class have. So if in the animal class we just define some properties that animal should have to, they must have some properties. The dog can have these properties more or less. Not every properties a dog should have. Like if it is a if I consider here a cat has whatever the properties, but the dog almost not almost, but most of the properties dog also have those properties. So because they both of them belong to this animal class, this is a kind of relationships that dog and cat both inherited from animal class, so they have some common properties. These common properties, whatever the animal belong to this animal class, which will have some common properties. So inheritance is create new classes derived new class means derived class from existing class. Base class is our parent class and inherited class is our child class. The derived class inherits the variables and functions of the base class and adds additional ones. Inheritance provide the ability to reuse the existing code. What already I have told you that if we write some code in animal class, we should not or we need not to write those code in the dog class again, because dog can inherit those properties or those information from the animal class, because dog class inherit from animal class. This is also true for cat class. So it just facilitate us to reuse existing code. Now come to the polymorphism. Polymorphism is the ability of an object to take on many forms. If one object can take many forms, then it is a properties called polymorphism. It occurs when a parent class in a reference is used to refer to a child class. If we consider this example, if all the living being we are watching in this image, all the living being can bark or can speak, but their type of barking or speaking or type of talking is different. You see a man or a human being can is saying us that now speak, but a duck just sound like this quack, but cat can sound like this meow. Maybe they are saying the same thing, but their form of sound is different. This is called polymorphism, when all have some common properties, but all the data are in different form. This property is called in polymorphism. So this is the end of our class. We have already discussed the basic properties or basic features of object-oriented programming. In the next class, we will do some implementation. Till then, stay safe and start your study for this semester. We will talk in the you will have some chance to ask questions in our online class.